3, 2, 1. Welcome to the David the Dog Trainer Podcast 251. Okay, so Brad, you're here.
I'm here. 251.
So I'm convinced that you just came into town. Look at that. Why is that? That looks crisp and like zoomed in nicely.
Well, I had to put the zoom in because there's
Josh
so
is a
much,
professional.
There's so much stuff in the way.
I next time want to try that.
Okay.
It just looks so good.
Pops.
Okay. We can do that.
Let's do that next time.
It'll keep it fresh for you, switching sides periodically as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I'm convinced you came into Cleveland, Ohio, intentionally to be one of the select few of the 3-timer podcast guests.
Absolutely. This was my.
I think this was
my
plan.
secret mission all along.
The secret mission.
I needed to see what this room looks like with the table being now over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Move from one side to the other. You know, I just got sick of every time I would stand up over there, I felt like I was going to hit my head on the fucking top.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that was a lot of it. I felt so claustrophobic over there.
No, that makes sense.
We still haven't even moved the TV.
This is nice. Yeah.
It's just a little more spacious.
A little more spacious, more headroom.
Yeah.
You got to worry about stuff as much.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, even though the TV has been over there for a year by itself.
I still keep saying I'm going to put it in that corner.
You got to just get one of those super extenders, like have it extend all the way over.
All
here.
the way over.
Yeah, that'd be
You guys haven't used that in a long time, though, have you?
Yes. It used to just be really when we were like watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And like we just don't really do that anymore.
No, you haven't.
You know?
You've tried to swear off the reactions. The
I'm
drama.
just over it. You know? I'm over it. I was talking to Tyler Muda was in town Monday for the Foo Fighters concert.
That's what he was saying, yeah.
Yeah. So he was in town Monday, and I went and got dinner with him. And I forgot what we were talking about exactly. What the hell? Where was I going with this? See, I'm gonna blank. I'm losing my train of thought.
He'll come back.
I'm out of the swing of things.
Yeah, we got nowhere to go. Don't worry about it.
Tyler Mudo, Foo Fighters.
Motherfucker, what was it?
Did you go to Foo Fighters?
Reaction videos.
Oh, yeah. We were just like bitching about the industry a little bit, right?
Okay.
We were talking about, you know, some key players out there, if you will, right? And I was like, whatever. I was like, there people sometimes get like pissed off at me, because I'll say something on the podcast or whatever, and I was like, but like, when you've been doing a podcast for 6 fucking years, like virtually every single week, like what, like I was like, this isn't like we have, special guests like, Sir Bradley here. Or like, Tyler's been on a couple times. You get some other miscellaneous figures that join the podcast from time to time. But like, this is not like an interview podcast. You know what I mean? This isn't like, oh my gosh, like let me bring somebody on and fucking interview them about, all of their fucking life and their history and this and that and blah, blah, blah. This is just a podcast for me to just like talk and like share my opinion and get shit off my chest and like just, I don't know, just talk about shit. So it's like for people to like act like I'm just somehow gonna like censor myself from like talking about things that irritate me in the dog world, I feel like is a little ridiculous sometimes, you know? And I've tried to back off of the intentionally going out of my way to be like, because, where a lot of the reaction videos came from was people used to be like, well, what do you think of this person? And what do you think of this person? What do you think of this person? And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll, watch some of their videos and see what I think of it. And that feels now like so much less of a, like as somebody on the receiving end of it from time to time and stuff, like it feels like so much less of a genuine way of talking about my opinions on other people, as opposed to now it's like when something comes up, right? I don't want to say I like cover the topic, but it's like, hey, this is going on in the dog world. This is how I feel about it. Take it or leave it, And I just feel like it's kind of insane for people to think that like if you have a talking podcast, like you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, I think people nowadays have issues with anyone's opinion that deviates from their own in any way, shape, or form. And there's also a ton of identification with my opinion is fact. I think it's true, therefore it is true, and everyone else is a fucking idiot. And that's not true, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. So how does one present an opinion in a way where it's not like, you know, like, they're just opinion. Like, I feel like, where does the line, why do people...
Well, you can't control how someone else perceives what you're saying. That's
For
the
sure.
thing,
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like, listen, I don't have anything against this individual or what they're doing or...
Sure.
You know, I might disagree with them. I've never met them. I've never lived in their body. I haven't had their life. So my opinion is naturally going to be limited by those facts.
Sure.
But this is how I feel about it right now with like what I know and what I'm seeing. And that's, you know, could be wrong, could be right. I might change my mind. And that level of nuance and just, you know, having a rational brain is not super common on the internet, at least. You know,
I'm gonna clip that phrase you just said, and anytime I give my opinion on something, I'll just paste it right before it.
It's like preface.
This is my disclaimer that I add before any fucking opinion that I give.
Yeah. David actually asked me to come to town specifically to say that.
Yeah. Anytime on the podcast, I'll just clip that in.
No, that is a good point though, because like it's like weaponized opinions sometimes, where like it's people are giving their opinion intentionally, almost to try to like truly paint somebody into a bad light.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like we see something and let's mold it into fact. Right. Like something bad, let's mold, or something perceived as bad, let's mold it into fact so that we can get everybody else to like dislike this individual.
Exactly.
And that's what we see from, you know, the force-free community very regularly, obviously. And now from the balance community very regularly as well. It's just, you know, we look at something, we get very little context. We don't know about this individual's, you know, life experience or why they're doing the things that they're doing or this or that. But we equate to like, this is who this person is due to this.
Right.
Yep. And I definitely try to make sure that I caveat like all of my opinions truly are just like opinions based on the little knowledge I have.
And you do. And you do a good job of it. But at the end of the day, like people are literally going to hear what they want to hear. And that is what it is. Yeah.
And this is all just stemmed from, obviously, the reason why the TV is still on the wall over there.
Yeah.
What else would we... I don't even know what else we would use that TV for these days.
Right.
You know?
No, that's true. But
it's a talking point now. That's what it is.
Like critiquing like other people's work. I would say just the one that still like brings heat every once in a while is the Beckman's.
Dude,
series.
people still... That's the one I get comments. I would say once a month I get a comment on it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't fucking know anything, Bob.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like the best conversations that happen about other people's training is when you have them on here and like actually get to pick their brains about what they do. You know,
I do have a funny topic that I will be discussing on the next podcast, but I'll give everybody a quick teaser right now.
Oh boy.
There is a follower, whatever, that seems in well enough faith, right, in things, but they were commenting on one of the last few episodes that we did, making some fairly bold claims on, you know, force-free being better than balanced and, using e-collars on, you know, animals is cruel and like, you know, the typical spiel, right? And I invited them onto the podcast, obviously, and they declined.
Classic.
And then, but here's the funny thing, right? And I'm sure this individual has been watching like most of our recent stuff, so like I'm sure they'll probably hear this when it comes out.
Yeah, maybe they'll show up.
They won't. I got to the facility the other day, and there was a letter that we got in the mail, right? And I opened the letter. There was no return address or anything.
It wasn't a glitter bomb, was it?
It came from California, right? And I opened it up, and it was a handwritten letter from this individual saying, I, again, respectfully decline, and I'm just entirely too busy to come on the podcast, but here's, like, my challenge for you to, like, you know, really ask why force-free, why you need the aversives and this. It was, like, a whole thing, and then sent out, like, a printed, like, 2-page document on this, like, this use of this reward versus aversive kind of test that you can do and stuff, right?
Okay.
So I will be making an entire episode as a formal response to that
Do
because
it,
I think
man.
it will be
Can't
kind
wait.
of funny.
Yeah.
I've got another clip for you.
You got another clip?
Yeah, whenever that topic comes up, I always like to say, "Go try it in the jungle.
Go try it in the jungle.
try
See
it
how
in the
far you
jungle."
get."
But bro, you sending me handwritten letters? You're commenting novels under all of our posts and watching all of these videos that are taking probably hours of your time.
Yeah.
But you can't spend an hour coming on the podcast.
1 hour.
As I said in one of the replies, it feels a little bit like a weenie move.
Yeah. But that'll be interesting.
But it'll make an interesting chat.
Next week will be interesting.
So,
Can't
yeah. So what else is new? Who's got a topic they want to talk about?
Well, I have a bit of a topic that kind of, neatly segues from that, I would say.
Okay.
Or maybe not. We'll see. But I kind of wanted to talk about stress
Stress.
in dog training.
All right.
And maybe stress with humans too. We'll see where it goes, But something that well, first of all, yesterday Michelle said to me, I sat in on one of her lessons, and she said to me at some point, something I say to all my clients is, I am your Google now. If you have any questions,
That is funny.
don't Google it. Ask me. And I was like, bro,
That's
good. I am going to borrow that.
Yeah.
Because, that'll happen from time to time, It's like I'll do a lesson or I'll have a board and train, go home lesson. And then a couple days later, be like, oh my God, I Googled e-collars and like everyone says you should only use the low levels and, that kind of thing. It happens all the time. And it's like there's this deep-seated fear, not even discomfort, but fear in a lot of people that if their dog ever shows any sign of stress at all, or if they ever look like they're a little uncomfortable or a little afraid, it's like, this is the end of the fucking world. My dog is going to be destroyed, and I signed up for this training program that's destroying my dog. I'm a piece of shit. It just becomes like this spiral, I think, a lot of the time. Not always, obviously. And so that's kind of something I'd like to talk about, of how that's just not true. Like whether it's a dog or a human or any other kind of animal, stress is always a part of learning something new in one way or another.
Yeah. I think the differentiation between, is that the right word?
Yeah.
English person?
I just like how you said that.
Yeah.
Differentiation. Just wanted to make sure I had all my syllables.
All the syllables
out there.
correct.
Yes. I think there's an important one of those to be made between temporary stress and perpetual stress.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think that this is where, the balance community, or I'll just speak for myself, right? Like I kind of try to give myself constant checks, right? Of like making sure that, I'm not just being okay with dogs being stressed out, that I have a plan for when I see stress, this is how we're going to overcome that stress, right? Or at least attempt to overcome that stress while being mindful that there still are going to be limits and certain things that will probably forever stress the dog out.
Yeah.
I don't ever want my dog to enter this state of like perpetual stress where whatever it is that I am doing that is causing the stress has no end point to it.
Yes, I agree.
Right?
I agree. Yep. Yeah, and nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes sometimes, and sometimes it's like, oh, wow, that really stressed this dog out, and I did not think that was going to happen.
Yes.
Okay, maybe we need to change our tacks. With 99 out of 100 dogs, if I do this exact same thing, it's completely fine. So those things will come up, but like you said, if you can view, whether you have a plan in the back of your mind already or not, I think if you can view stress as like, oh, okay, this is really hard for the dog or the human or whatever right now. And it's something that we've just got to get through. Like that can be a really helpful mindset to have, because I think for us as humans as well, we're almost conditioned away from it. Like if you get uncomfortable, or well, there's two extremes. If you're uncomfortable or if you're feeling anxiety or whatever it is, like go to the doctor, get some drugs, numb it out. That's unacceptable. And then the other extreme is like, oh, well, just tough shit, tough through it, white knuckle it. And I think ideally we want to be somewhere in the middle of those two extremes where we allow ourselves to feel stress and discomfort and fear and all the things. And then with our dogs too, it's like, yeah, you're having a quote unquote negative emotion about this. And that's okay, you know? And I think there's a big link there too, where if we as humans are really uncomfortable with allowing ourselves to feel the full spectrum of emotion, then we're also going to project that onto our dogs. Like, well, you can't be in a state of stress because I can't accept when I'm in a state of stress or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think just like being in the middle with it, you know, and knowing that even when stress, signs of stress, when a dog looks really uncomfortable or whatever, or even when they're like uncontrollably excited and they're all over the place, like those things are, if you're within a good training program and you're like working towards goals, those things are pretty much always going to be temporary in one form or another.
Yeah.
And that's something I think that, you know, going back to what Michelle said, if someone just Googles, oh my God, my dog has like the curly tongue while they're on their bed stay, you know, they're stress panting and their tongue is doing the thing. And you Google that, it's like, oh yeah, that's horrible. Like you need to stop that immediately and make sure that goes away. And it's like, that's not true. You know, it's not true. It's just like the dog is going to learn that like, oh, okay, I can just stay on the bed for a while. All is well, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like when you Google like, oh, I have a stomach ache, and then
Dude, exactly.
WebMD was like, you're
Stomach
dying.
cancer.
Yeah, stage 4, you're done.
Yeah.
Yep. Go to the ER right now.
Yeah.
Bring all your money.
Yeah. One thing that I've been really looking at with a lot of like my behavioral modification cases is the stress, right? Like let's look at like Ollie when we were doing that session with him, right? There are times where it's important to put stress on your dog, obviously, and then there are times where it is unnecessary or potentially detrimental to what you're trying to achieve with the dog.
Yeah.
To put stress in places that you don't need to.
Yeah.
Right. So like we were doing that session with him and he was stressed being around a new person. He's an aggressive dog, obviously. Stressed being around a new person, stressed being around, you know, not a new environment, but a more chaotic environment that he had been in before. And you had asked me, obviously, when I was working some obedience commands with him, why I was I was like intentionally not using the e-collar with him. And I was trying to kind of just like help him as opposed to like punish non-compliance of like known commands and stuff like that. And it was because my end goal in that session with him, like he is a trained dog, and having him perform his downstay better when he's not rehearsing any like negative or unwanted behaviors while I'm trying to work it, has nothing to do with him continuing to improve with the behavioral modification I'm trying to do with him.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So obviously I'm, you know, putting him through the motions, doing obedience and stuff just to work his mind, but I don't want that obedience training session to create any additional stress in that moment. Because my goal is to shift his perception in that moment of things. That would be a different story if I was doing an obedience training session and he was like completely out of control, rehearsing unwanted behaviors and this and that, right? Like obviously I would need to be harder on him because like, you know, I weigh out the risk to reward of like the stress I'm going to create in that moment by getting on him versus, you know, the cycle he's falling into with the behavioral issues that he's rehearsing. But he wasn't doing that. He was just like, wow, I told him to down, and he like kind of maybe was a little distracted or maybe just like was confused in the moment or something, and he didn't down, right? But he wasn't doing, he was fine. You know, from a behavior standpoint, from his aggression standpoint, there was nothing that he was doing that was directly related to any of that. So I chose to help him in that moment instead of punish him because 15 minutes later, when we took him to the park, my goal was to get him to open up and start playing with us.
Yeah.
Right. And had I gotten on him in that moment, that would have hurt that goal. And I may not have gotten him to the place I got him to, which was him opening up and actually playing with us. Right. So I'm so mindful of that with a lot of behavior mod situations that I work with. That's going to be something I'm going to be really mindful of as we work with that new dog that just got dropped off last night. Like clearly when he got there, he was in a state of very elevated stress.
Yeah.
Right. And we could have went two directions with things in that moment. Right. We could have said, you know what, let's do obedience training and let's work downs. And because he's really stressed out, he's probably not going to listen to me. And I'm going to need to give corrections and this or that. Or we could look at, well, he's stressed. He's not doing anything with the stress. Like there was nothing that he was doing that was like dangerous or unwanted, right? But he was really fucking stressed. So we chose to take an hour and a half and just literally just hang out with him. And I took him outside and like walked him and let him go like run through the puddles and shit, right? Like it was just like, you know, and I let another dog out and the dog was sniffing him and hanging out with him. And he was, you know, I don't know exactly what his social status is currently because he just got here, but like he was just fine with all of it. And I chose to not do anything in that moment that would create unnecessary stress.
Yeah.
Now, as I was interacting with him, if that created a problem, that would have been something maybe we would have had to create stress by holding him accountable or correcting him or something like that. Or if he went after the other dog when I let it out, like obviously I'm going to choose to create more stress by punishing that.
Yeah.
But that's because those things are directly related to the behavior modification that I'm doing with him.
Well, and it's like you said the other day, and I'm sure you say this all the time, just like having a goal in mind every time you take a dog out. You know, it's like, oh, this dog's like really having trouble adjusting to being here. So yeah, let's just hang out for a bit. Or this dog is having trouble adjusting to being here and they're acting like a complete lunatic and doing all these unwanted, dangerous behaviors. That's a bit of a different story at that point.
Yeah.
And I think like even in the context of just basic commands, right? Like when you are working obedience, I think one thing that people get hung up on a lot, and myself included, I used to get hung up on this a lot, you know, in the past, is like when a dog maybe doesn't want to do something, but they do know what to do, or perhaps they need a few repetitions of having some assistance because it's like we're generalizing it to a new place for the first time or something like that. Like it's the first time we're doing our bed stay in the backyard or whatever it may be. And then the dog is in a state of a little bit of stress, whatever that looks like. That can really befuddle people. And like, oh my God, this is so bad. The bed stay is, you know, Satan. Like we shouldn't be doing this. And then the decision that the human makes in that moment, like, okay, you didn't listen. You're stressed, whatever, we're done. We're not doing this. And I'm not like, sometimes maybe that's the right thing to do, you know, but I think a lot of the time that decision to not stick through it is what actually creates more stress. It creates more of what the human is like trying to avoid, is afraid of happening. Cause then we're basically saying like, hey, listen, Mr. Dog, listening is contingent upon a number of factors. One of those is your mood and how happy you look, or like my mood and how I'm feeling. And then we can get into this place of like, sometimes I enforce the bed stay, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I help you, sometimes I correct you. And it just gets to be, sometimes I hit the button when I say no, sometimes I don't, so on and so forth. And it just gets to be like this, it's all over the place. that's what creates a lot of stress for dogs. Not just like, hey, you have to do it. You have to stay on the bed. And you know what? You're going to survive. You're going to be fine. I promise. You may not like it right now, but in 2 days, it's going to be as though you never struggled with this at all.
Yeah.
So just as like a reminder for myself and for all humans on the planet that own dogs and are doing training, I think inconsistency is, like, in my opinion, one of the top causes of creating more stress with your dog. It's not the e-collar per se. It's not like if you're correcting or not. It's not if you're using food or not. It's, are you doing one thing and saying another, or saying one thing and doing another? Are you being consistent in what your expectations are?
Yeah.
So on and so forth. And obviously that changes a little bit based on where you are in the training process, where you are in a program, and all of that. But is that making sense?
Yes. Yeah, I think in the context of obedience, like you were mentioning, like seeing it through, right? Like instead of stopping when your dog is stressed out, like obviously that's very important given that we're doing it correctly. Like, I think it is, in our goal so like I use the example of like behavioral modification cases and places where I might lighten up on obedience or things that are unrelated to the behavioral modification that I'm trying to do, because that's the point of stress that I want to obviously solve.
Yeah.
In the case of obedience, obviously it's different, right? Like if I had a brand new dog come in that wasn't here for behavioral modification and they were here just for obedience training, like I'm going to tackle and potentially create stress hurdles for the dog to work past right away with them, because baseline, they're sound, I have them in a good frame of mind, they're happy, they want to work. So maybe then I create some stress with teaching them impulse control around triggers, right? Or insert whatever goal that we may have, right? And as we see the stress that we're possibly creating in doing that process, yes, it's important to work through it, but we have to be able to recognize what it is that is triggering the stress in that moment. And usually it's going to be, the consequence we're providing, or the negative reinforcement, or the withholding of the reward, or whatever it may be. And we have to find a way to quickly get the dog to connect the dots, obviously, of how to avoid that stressor moving forward. Yes. Whether it's, again, this isn't always just like, aversives and stuff like that. It could just be the negative punishment of like, I'm trying to teach a sit, the dog doesn't sit, so they don't get the reward, and that creates stress, right? So the faster we can get to a place where the dog connects the dots and does not need the aversive sensation, right, of withholding something, or, getting an e-collar stim or leash pressure or something like that, the faster they can overcome the stress. And the mistake a lot of trainers will make is they don't make it a winnable game for the dog, right? They're trying to teach something and they're doing something stupid, like, we to see the kind of, the forward condition, or the backwards conditioning, I should say, of they're stimming every time they give the command, right? And the dog cannot avoid the stim because it's always coming first in the sequence, or it's coming simultaneously, which, again, the forward, backward, simultaneous conditioning is a whole separate conversation. But they're not doing things in a way where the dog, as soon as they do connect the dots of what they're supposed to be doing, that they could learn they're in control of that sensation, and they could ultimately avoid that sensation so that the stress can go away, so that they then can thrive through it, right? So they set up their training program from an obedience standpoint very incorrectly, where the dog can't become in control over the sensations that are happening to them. And then as soon as they do achieve any sort of like success with the dog, they're usually jumping right into something else then, before they allow the dog to not just learn how to escape the sensation and to be fluent in the command, and then to become confident in the thing that we're asking them to do. They skip that last step and they just jump straight into the next thing, and create again this sense of perpetual stress, right? That obedience training, the stress associated with it never becomes fully resolved, because we're always jumping right into the next thing.
Exactly. And I love how you said that, and like that sense of agency that a dog will get if you're operating in that way of like, hey, the negative reinforcement, the e-collar stim, the leash pressure, whatever it is completely avoidable. Yeah. And it is completely in your control. Mr. Dog or Mrs. Dog, if you have that consequence or that aversive occur or not, just as it's completely in your control if you have a reward occur or not. It's up to you once they figure it out, which, yes, sometimes that takes a little bit, but I think it often takes far, far less time than what people think, because we're a lot of the times used to, you're like, yeah, man, it took me like 7 months to teach my dog to lay down with food in my basement, because we're not experts and we're not doing it super well. Like I remember doing some things like that back in the day with my dog, and you're like, holy crap, this training stuff is hard. But once you know how to do it really well, and then that the dog will figure it out really quickly, if they have agency over if a bad consequence or whatever is happening or not, then in the long term, there is nothing to be stressed about, because they're in control of what happens, reward, punishment, whatever. But that only happens if we as the humans are being consistent in how we're doing things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I think that's important. I think... Are you groaning down there?
Was that Vito?
Yeah, you
Stretch.
I thought that was like a truck or something
underneath the table at this point.
Hey, dude. Oh, you're asleep, huh?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I just think that, balance trainers could do a better job of looking at stress, whether it's environmental stress that we're not doing anything to create it. It's just they're stressed out by what's going on and it's contributing in behavioral issues, or the created stress through working them through hurdles.
Yeah.
I think we need to do a better job of looking at those things and being mindful that our goal is compliance. And our goal is obviously getting the dog to listen to us and not perform unwanted behaviors. But our goal also should be moving the needle of that stress becoming more and more obsolete as we go along. And again, I really don't want to paint this perception that you're ever going to create a stress-free life with your dog. Like that doesn't exist. Right. But there are a lot of areas where we can help improve on the stress. And that will create more resiliency with the dog as they overcome that stress. And they will become better behaved because of it.
Yeah, because they know what's what. It's like, it's the same thing for us, whether you're on a sports team and there's a coach, or you're working at your job and there's a boss or a manager, or you're a kid and you're in a classroom. Like, when you know what the rules are and they're consistently followed and enforced and all of that, it feels good.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I know what to expect. I know, when I show up every day, so-and-so is going to pretty much act the same way they always do. And if I do this, I might get in trouble. If I do this, I'm good. It's like the same thing with dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think another thing that that I think about a lot is like when people have really negative associations to words like leadership, discipline, punishment, boundaries, all that kind of stuff. It's because we as humans have had bad experiences with like not well done, let's say, versions of those things in the past. We've had experiences of quote unquote leadership where it's just like very domineering and authoritarian and like, hey, whatever my mood swing dictates, whatever my mood is dictates how today is going to go.
Yeah.
There's not like a consistent law of the land, if you will. But that is not true leadership. That's not true discipline. That's not a good example of like healthy boundaries, Yeah. And it's like we all need to be reminded of that sometimes, that good examples of those things do exist.
Yeah.
And when those things are done well, when there's a discipline plan that's done well, or there's a leadership system that's clear and understandable to the followers, it's always going to be a net positive at the end of the day. Vito agrees.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. So, stress. Check. Good topic. You got anything to add on stress, Josh?
Not really.
I like it.
I hate stress. No.
Yeah, for sure. No, I completely agree. I think I think there's different topics that become important in dog training as like time goes on. And like sometimes we focus on like the methods and this and that and like how things are done and et cetera, et cetera. And I think sometimes it's good to like give yourself the reminders of like some of the core principles of like what we're really trying to achieve with dogs, which is we want compliant dogs. We want dogs that don't rehearse unwanted behaviors. And we do want dogs that aren't just like stressed out of their marbles.
Yeah. We want confidence and like they're enjoying their life. But, you know, the idea that you're going to go from your dog being completely freaking out of control and like completely overstimulated and their nervous system is like, wee, 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 to just happy and well-behaved and totally balanced in like 1 or 2 lessons or in like a couple weeks of a board and train program. It's like, it's not always that easy. You know, there's frequently, maybe not always, but there's frequently a messy middle to go through.
Yeah.
In the same way, and I think this is a connection people often fail to make. Like, if you're an alcoholic and you're trying to go through rehab or like stop drinking, it's probably going to be a little messy. You know what I mean? If you're trying to quit coffee, it's gonna be a little messy for a little bit. You know, quitting smoking, whatever, learning the guitar, anything, like anything. It's not just this like, oh yeah, like it's always easy and effortless and stress-free. Like that is such a harmful fallacy that is really widely perpetuated in a lot of different fields. Nowadays.
You know, it's kind of funny. I was just thinking to myself a minute ago, as you were like 10 seconds ago, as you were just saying that about the like alcoholic rehab and stuff like that. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh yeah, you know, these force-free motherfuckers, you know, want to talk about how, you know, you could do shit without aversives and stuff like that. I was like, I wonder what the force-free equivalent of rehabbing like an alcoholic would be.
It's like you're going to get 4 beers today.
Get ready for this.
And then the next day.
They're already doing it. There's no punishment for drinking that's applied. You know what I mean? Like, well, I should correct myself.
Sometimes, but
there is no positive punishment that is applied for drinking. There is the strongest form of negative punishment that's applied, though, right? Withholding of the reward, right? The thing that the alcoholic wants the most is the alcohol, right? And force-free trainers are very, very, very keen on applying negative punishment, right? Obviously, they don't use applied aversives. They withhold things that dogs want in order to achieve behavior or decrease behavior, right? And look at the sense of pure agony that alcoholics go through when you are applying negative punishment to that moment. Now, I understand, obviously, there is a chemical component at play as well of like the withdrawals and stuff.
There's a link that we can talk about with dogs, but I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. So look at that and look at the pure agony that they go through sometimes when they're in the middle of these withdrawals, right? And ask yourself the question of, is like, you know, from a force-free standpoint with dogs, when we are applying negative punishment and withholding things these dogs want, do you really think that is that much better and less stressful than applying positive punishment? Because it's not.
It's not, because you can't modulate it.
Yeah.
You can't, like, on the e-collar, it's like, okay, I turn it down, right?
Yeah.
You can't turn down negative punishment.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't.
What's the link you were going to say?
So the link that I was going to say is... So before I say this, caveat, like if you're a really talented force-free trainer or just a really talented dog owner who's into force-free training or whatever, this probably doesn't apply to you. You know what I mean? If you're raising a dog well and you have a lot of routines and structure in place, this probably isn't going to happen. But a lot of times, I think the owner is such a source of reinforcement, positivity, not always, sometimes it's in a negative way, but a lot of times, like, I'll jokingly say, like, your dog looks at you like you're fucking heroin. You know what I mean? And that level of, we could call it codependency, we could call it a toxic relationship, we could call it whatever we want. That can be pretty harmful, and it can cause a lot of problems. So then if we're trying to do a force-free protocol where we're using negative punishment, we're withholding reward with a dog that is like chemically addicted to their owner, they are over attached to their owner to the point of like, if you give that leash to someone else and they take the dog 4 feet away from their owner, the dog is going to have a complete panic attack meltdown. It's pretty hard, I would argue, to use negative punishment effectively in that context, because the thing the dog wants the most is you, and you're always there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we don't have to go too far down that rabbit hole, but I think in some contexts we could argue it is very much like a drug or alcohol dependency. Mm-hmm. It depends on how the dog views the human and what the relationship looks like. Mm-hmm. But I have definitely seen that a time or 2 or 3 or 400 in my career.
Yeah, for sure. Trying to think how I want to go from there. So okay, yeah. So obviously owner is the ultimate resource, right? They are the thing the dog has constant access to. The dog believes it's theirs. The dog wants nothing more than the owner, right? Which is why obviously we see, dogs quote unquote guard their owner, which again is not them protecting the owner by any means. It's keeping people away from trying to take away the resource that they want.
Yes.
Right. This is why we see in the case of training sessions, like how many times have you went to go take a dog away from the owner and the dog is just like scrambling and Scooby-Dooing on the floor to try to get back to them. Right.
That's a good way to put it.
A lot of times owners will see that and be like, oh, they're scared of the trainer. They don't want to go to the trainer. It's no, they're being restrained away from this constant resource that they have.
Yes.
Right. And the negative punishment equation, I mean, I'm trying to think of an example of like how we would utilize, the negative punishment of the owner, obviously, to deter a behavior. I guess your best possible example that you could have of it is like curbing separation anxiety.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're utilizing the negative punishment until the dog's behavior subsides into something calmer, and then you re-give the reinforcement for it at that point. Yeah, I don't know.
But I meant more in the sense of like, if you, the owner, are trying to use negative punishment while you're training your dog with food or with whatever, it's probably not going to matter because the primary resource of the owner is still there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think dogs can turn on and off what they're reinforced by in the moment.
Sure.
Like there's plenty of owners you'll see that have that really toxic relationship with their dog where their presence is very reinforcing, but in the moment when they're doing food training,
the dog's still really into the food.
Dog is still actively engaged in the food because if what you were saying was like totally accurate, it would be like, the reinforcement of you is there, so they don't even want this reinforcement at that point.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So withholding it is meaningless to them. But if they want that in the moment, you could still leverage
that would be an extreme
negative
case,
punishment
perhaps.
of it, obviously. Yeah. So, dude,
Vito agrees with that too.
Groaning up a storm over there. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
He's
obviously,
so overattached.
like
to you,
all
David.
of this is like. All of this is just like, getting back to like the big like stress conversation though, like it's just none of this is stuff you necessarily want to just avoid. It's
exactly.
You have to be mindful of it, right? Like if your presence or your lack of presence is creating tons of stress, like we need to look at the end goal of how we go about curbing that.
Agreed,
Some
man.
of that is a combination of reducing how reinforcing you are to the dog, right? Some of that is utilizing the negative punishment of withholding the attack. Because I guess we could look at like the withholding of the attention that we're giving is negative punishment as well. And if you're more reinforcing, it's going to be that much more stronger to the dog.
Yep.
I mean, I used to tell people in one-on-ones all the time when I would see that they would have a dog that would be like really codependent on them. I would say, just one day, pick a day. And I was like, it sounds cruel, but like, don't pet your dog tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. And they'll be like, oh, wait, really? And I'd be like, yeah. I was like, just try your hardest to not pet your dog. Right. And they're like, all right. And they report back the next day. They were like, holy shit, that was like the hardest thing I ever needed to do.
Yeah.
Because the not petting of the dog was because of the toxic relationship they have, it was so punishing to the dog that they went crazy trying to do anything they could to solicit the attention out of them. Yeah. Right. And I'm not suggesting people just go and like not pet their dogs constantly forever and ever.
Yeah.
But if you have that toxic of a relationship where like you just not petting your dog for a couple of hours elicits that extreme of a behavior because they're that averse to not having physical contact from you for a short period of time, that's a serious problem that we need to go about addressing. And the negative punishment then we leverage to stop those demanding behaviors, right? So if me not petting my dog is so aversive to them that they've learned that in order to access that resource back, they can climb all over us and claw at us and bark in our face and this and that, you have to make sure you maintain that aversive sensation, not petting the dog, until that behavior subsides into a calm and more balanced state of mind. Then you could reinforce that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it does two things. It shapes behavior. And on top of it shaping behavior, it helps for the dog to learn to just settle without you constantly there.
Right. And then it can rebalance over time the relationship from something codependent and a bit toxic into interdependent, securely attached, less toxic, more we mutually support one another, which is, I think, at the end of the day, what we all want with our dogs.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love that technique, and I love that you brought that up, because I will still periodically recommend that to people, and invariably the response is so then I'm like, listen, how about 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And the last client I had that I recommended that to, awesome client, awesome. They just had I just had both of their dogs, and dogs did great, humans did great. But it's like become a running joke between us where like, yeah, I did my 5 minutes of not touching the dogs today. It's still really hard, but it's like, great. Yeah. I mean, you start building that muscle, because for the human too, a lot of the times we don't even know we're doing it. Yeah. It's an unconscious habit. It's like, oh yeah, the dog nudges me, I'm petting them. And it's like, you cannot stop your own behavior if you're not aware that you're doing it. And you can become aware you're doing it by setting that timer on your phone and intentionally saying, I'm going to, like, if I have to fucking put oven mitts on and have my spouse like tape my arms to my chest, I'm going to not do that for the next 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is. Yeah. And then you can start to, create that behavior change over time.
For sure. Yeah. Look at that. Stress.
Yeah,
codependency, negative punishment.
Yeah, talking about all the serious
bringing
things.
out all the topics here.
Yeah.
Well, and the human element too, I think this is endlessly fascinating. Like, that's something I think too a lot of people don't think about. Like, we think about it on a surface level as humans, like, oh yeah, I might be part of the problem, but it's in such a way where if someone says that, they have no idea how they're a part of the problem. It's like, it's not the things you think that it is. It's not like that you don't know how to walk your dog. Yes, that's part of it. Sure, that can be a problem, but it's those little things where, like, when your dog is freaking out and you go pet them, or when you say it's okay 17 times in a row every time your dog seemingly is bothered by something. And it's that kind of stuff often that is invisible to us as humans that can really create some like super toxic relationships between humans and dogs. Yeah. So, gotta notice those things as best you can.
Yeah. I mean, just how we're living with our dogs.
Yep.
That's very important. Have you seen or listened to, our boy Cesar Milan was recently on, are you hip to the Huberman Lab podcast?
Yes.
Josh, you know him, right? Andrew Huberman.
I didn't, Yeah,
Huberman.
it's Huberman.
Is it Huberman? Yeah.
I didn't listen to it, but somebody did send me that.
I haven't listened to all of it yet. I listened to maybe because I think it's like 2 or 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I think I listened to maybe the first 45 minutes or so. And it's kind of crazy, dude. Dude's still just out there preaching the same shit. And I don't even say that in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like, we were in a lesson the other day, and the client asked, like, I forgot what, we brought up Caesar for some reason. I think you asked him, like, oh, did you see this episode of The Dog Whisperer?
No, I remember what it was. The client was like, is he bad?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, no. Before that, though, it came up. I think you had asked, do you watch The Dog Whisperer, or have you seen this episode? Or something?
Yeah, because it was about the door.
Yeah.
It was about the door.
Yeah, and then they asked, they were like, is he as problematic as people say he is what she had said. And I was like, no, like I again, I've said this a million times in the podcast, like I'm Team Caesar, but like it's crazy. Like I think now at this point, he's really I think where Caesar got a lot of his flack was like when he was like hands-on working with a lot of these dogs, and he was in this in-between middle ground where he was needing to like quasi train the dogs, but also like help the owners. And it's just like, he's obviously from a technical training standpoint, like he's very sloppy. It's really intuition, this, that. But from like the human standpoint, like I joke that he's still preaching the same shit, but it's because it's all so fucking relevant.
Yeah.
Like his like exercise, discipline, affection, right? Like at its core, right? Like this is what I was listening to on the podcast. It's like in the first like 20 minutes they were talking about it. He was like, yeah, Andrew Huberman was like, your exercise, discipline, affection. He's like, I do it every single day. He's like, I got, I've done it with my last dog. I'm doing it with my new dog. He's like, every morning we go out and we go for a 45-minute walk every single morning before we do anything else, right? Then we get back and I feed him and we practice discipline around the food bowl, discipline being not like punishment, obviously 2 different things, but just, compliance and whatever.
You gotta
Getting
wait
the
for
dog
your
to
bowl.
think
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And he's like, and only then at that point, the family then shares affection and hangs out with the dog and this and that. And it's such a simple framework. And I'm not saying it's going to solve all your fucking problems. It's not what I'm saying at all. But I'll tell you, it ain't going to hurt him.
Right.
It ain't going to fucking hurt them if everybody built into their morning for the first 45 minutes, exercise your dog, whether it's go for a 45-minute walk, whether it's go play tug or throw a ball for 45 minutes with your dog, but do something to physically stimulate them and their nervous system, then do some type of disciplined exercise with them, right? Then share your affection on the back end. Like if people adopted that framework, it really would solve a hell of a lot of problems that we see out there.
Yeah, man. And it's the same for us as humans. Like I'm not gonna say if you just go on an hour-long walk every morning and then you eat a healthy diet, it's going to solve all your problems. But as you said, it's probably very unlikely to make things worse.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just think like the simple frameworks of it. I got to go back. Maybe today I'll do that. I'll listen to the rest of that podcast on my drives and stuff. But I just think like those are, again, like we're talking about the reminders with the stress and like how like we get caught up in all these nuances of how we're training and what we're doing and stuff like that. But there are simple frameworks of creating a happy, healthy human and a happy, healthy dog.
Totally.
That those components, if we could always get ourselves back to those things, we're just gonna be better off from it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And like to take it back to the stress stuff and like just a simple context of like a bed stay or a down stay. If your dog is stressed out about it, just do it every day for a month. Yeah. 99.9% likely your dog is going to be 0% stressed out about it at that point. And yeah, like, and I'm thinking of now, oftentimes people will say you got to be consistent with your dog. You got to have structure. And it's like, what is consistency? What is structure? I think that's a really good way to answer that question. Just this is how we do our walk. This is how we do our feeding routine. This is how we wait at the doors. Like it can be as big picture or as small picture as you want, but these aren't like mystical terms that, you don't need a full fucking Google calendar for your dog's day. Yeah. But if you have a few linchpin things, like we're going to do a structured walk and then we're going to go run and play at the park and then we're going to have our meal time, we're going to do our bed stay, whatever it looks like for you. Yeah. if you have that in place, you have structure, you have consistency, consistency within the structure, perhaps, of like how you're enforcing things and all that stuff. You're going to be in a good place.
Yeah.
You know, you might still have behavior problems and you might still need to hire a trainer. Yeah. But like you're going to be in a good place. And then
you move
within
your baseline up to like more normal. You know what I mean? You make sure as we then go and solve those behavioral issues, we're not fighting an uphill battle.
Yes.
Right. Because, you know, I think Ivan used to say this, or one of Ivan's proteges or something, but these say like, what's your dog's thing that they have to look forward to every day? I think it was one of them. I can't remember exactly who said it, but they were like, what's your dog's like reason to live, or their thing to look forward to every day, right? And a lot of people, they don't have that with their dog. And I'm not saying every day needs to be like, you know, in your dog's mind, like they're going to fucking Disney World.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But if the vast majority of the time, like there's something where it's like every day your dog fucking loves doing this thing, and you try to fit that into your schedule as many days as you possibly can, right? And they're physically satiated, right? Like you're just starting in such a better place. I mean, I'm just like spewing common sense right now. Like I'm not saying anything like mind blowing.
But dude, common sense is powerful.
Sure. Okay, so I think it was Friday night, last Friday, we had our neighbors came over, right? And we knew we were going to have a busy day Saturday. And we were home most of the day, and like, obviously a little fucking Vito here. No, hey, he's trying to bite his leash right now. Speaking of, but Vito here, obviously, ton of energy. Like if we're going to be, not home a large chunk of the day on Saturday, we want to make sure he's obviously satiated, if you will, right? So the neighbors came over. They got 3 kids between the ages of, call it like 10 and 18, right? And they fucking love him, right? They're like, oh my God, puppy's great. It's awesome. Dude, they came over, and Friday, they were over our house maybe 4 hours, 4.5 hours, something like that. And they just played with him the entire time, dude. And this dude was just so... when you look at, like, it is a great feeling. I'm getting real fucking, whatever. Woo-woo, sappy, whatever now.
Please do. I love it.
One of the best feelings in the world is when, you've taken your dog out, you've, spent all day with them, you did all this stuff, and you get home, and it's like, they're just fucking, they're whooped.
You know
they're what I mean?
Fried.
They're fried. They're just Jay chilling, not because we're making them, not because they're needing to like contain themselves and keep all their fucking shit together.
Just fulfilled.
They're just fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right. And that was this dude all day Saturday because of that. And that was like his thing to look forward to in the day, right? Was like playing with the kids all day and like getting all his energy out and getting social time, right? And getting physical activity and exercise and stuff like that. And that's what I mean about so few people get their dog to that point ever, right? And that is a piece of the reason why they struggle with this still.
Yes.
And that's just the reminder I think everybody should have, is just focusing on some of that kind of stuff more and finding ways to, as much as you can, right, truly satiate and fulfill to the completeness.
Yeah.
Right? Empty the tank. Drain the battery completely, physically and mentally with them on a more regular basis. And you will find you're not fighting as much of an uphill battle with them.
And directly related to that, look at the big picture.
Yeah.
If your dog is stressed out a little bit as you're going through training, or, they used to have this behavior problem and it's getting better, but we're not where we want to be yet. Like, life is long, man. Like it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay for your dog to be struggling with something. It's okay for you to be struggling with something as a human. But if you keep the big picture in mind, the little stressors and the small setbacks and all those things, even if they're big, quote unquote, in the moment, it's all good.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said the other day, you said, oh God, I forgot what I was going to say. What did you tell me? Everything you said last week.
Good question.
You were talking about Vito and the kids being fulfilled. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got it. So we were talking about the other night, I think it was you, Michelle, and I with what's his nugget.
What's his nugget?
Yeah, that Mowgli or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mowgli.
I think we should change his name.
I think it's
to
Mogi. I
Mogi.
believe it's Mogi. I keep wanting to call him Mowgli as well.
Yeah.
Jungle Book.
He does.
Yeah,
He does kind of look like a lion a little bit from the rear. Anyway, not at all actually. We were talking about what are some things you do as a dog trainer, like in your personal life with your dog that you generally would never recommend a client do. And the thing that I brought up was like, I have a free walking protocol, if you will, if we had to call it something fancy. But basically, free walking in my mind means like you're just letting your dog do whatever they want. I have 2 rules for that. 1 is don't pull on the leash, and 2 is don't be a dickhead. So no behaviors that you're not allowed to do ever still applies.
Sure.
And the way I do that is I use a prong collar and a flexi lead, and it works great. And he's really used to it. So it's like when the prong collar comes on, it has a certain association. It's like, oh, we're going to go on a sniff walk. This is going to be sick, And my dog is funny because on a regular like 6 foot or 8 foot, I usually use an 8 foot leash. On a regular 8 foot leash, he might sniff a little bit if I give him a break from the walk, but he doesn't really. And when he's off leash, he doesn't really sniff a ton either. He'll like go eat a stick or some shit or, roll around in the grass. So it's really nice to have that as part of our routine. And the reason I don't generally go over that with clients is I just think the margin for error is a lot higher. I explain it to clients like, oh, I do this. You could do that. Don't worry about it right now. You got to get all this stuff under control. We can talk about how you introduce more sniffaris, if you will, in the future. Just, one thing at a time. But that is one of my favorite things to do with Argo, and he loves it. He's like, oh my God, he could just go sniff around, sniff on all the trees, pee on a bunch of stuff. And it's a small thing, yes, but he loves it. He loves it so much. And it's like, I can find 20 minutes in my day to go around the block.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's very fulfilling for him. So,
what does Bender have to look forward to today?
His 11 p.m. walk.
11 p.m.?
Yeah.
Literally
day,
11
long
p.m.
day.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
It's always at 11 p.m.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then he gets his snack after.
His snack.
Because if he doesn't
gets
get a snack, if he doesn't get a snack, he throws up bile in the morning.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, but now it's like a thing. Yeah.
There you go.
He gets
Consistency.
pissed
How long
routine.
is the 11 p.m. walk?
20 minutes.
Yeah, not 22.
Not 22, 20.
20.
It's the same like little route,
Yeah?
Yeah, but he's fine with it. He loves
You ever
it.
run into any crazies around at 11 p.m. on your route?
Nah.
Are you in a pretty crazy-free neighborhood?
Pretty non-crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
I wanted to say this earlier, but like we talked 2-3 podcasts ago about like buzzwords that people use and consistency, routine. I don't remember the one that you exactly.
I don't know.
Structure.
But it was just where like, oh yeah, you should just have consistency with your dog. But like you say that to like a random person, they're like,
What?
what? What does that mean?
Or it means 7 different things to 7 different people.
Yes, exactly. So it's like breaking it down more to a digestible way of, oh, that's what you mean by consistency. Yeah, even if it's not the same time.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting, like, hey, you need to get something stimulating with your dog throughout the day. It doesn't matter when it is, just as long as it happens. That's the consistency you need.
Exactly.
Where I know some people would get hooked up on the 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Bender's got to go.
And listen, if that's how your brain works, cool. You do you. That's not how my brain works. I'm way too ADHD for that shit,
Yeah. But I think letting people know that there are many ways to be consistent.
Yeah. Like having a routine for example, like when I make my coffee in the morning, sometimes I do it slightly different, but most of the time it's pretty much exactly the same. And I do very similar like morning activities, and there's a great degree of like peace that comes from having that structure. That doesn't mean I'm like analytically torturing myself, setting my alarm for 7:44 a.m. every day, and like I have to do it these, again, it can be on a spectrum of, on one side it's like extreme OCD, on the other side you just never do anything the same way, the same, on the same day twice kind of thing. And you want to be, I think, kind of in the middle. It's like, hey, I have some linchpin habits throughout my day. I have some little routines that I do for how I do X, Y, or Z. It doesn't matter if it's at the same fucking time every day.
So that brings up an interesting last point to it, I will say, which is, I talk about make sure your dog has something to look forward to in the day, focus on fulfilling them, decrease stress, this, that, right? Like this, every time I have this conversation, I feel like I need to add the caveats to it of, it's okay if it doesn't happen sometimes, and that should not derail everything. Those are not the things that ultimately keep your dog under control or keep yourself, the human, under control, right? They are things that help you to not be constantly fighting an uphill battle. I was listening to the other pod. You listen to Chris Willinks ever?
Wilkins?
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah.
The Australian guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a Modern Wisdom, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Great podcast.
Welcome to Modern Wisdom.
And and he did an episode with Alex Hormozy, and it was like 4.5 hours long.
I need to watch that one.
It's a good one. It's somewhat recent.
Yeah.
And in it, Chris was talking about how he had Jocko Willink on his podcast one time. It was like the first time he met him. And he was like, we sat down and did the podcast, and he kind of just felt like Jocko was in like a fucking little bit of a
funk.
I think he called it a grump. Right? Grump. And, he said, whatever, they did the podcast. It was fine. And, he since became like friends with him, and he was hanging out with him one time. He was like, hey, what was the deal with that podcast we did that one time? Like, kind of seemed like you were in like a mood or something. And Jocko was like, yeah. He's like, I missed my workout in the morning. So I was in a piss all day. Right. And they used it as a like, be careful that you're not creating too rigid and structured a life where if something gets derailed from it, it completely throws you off because you haven't taught yourself then the emotional regulation and coping mechanisms to just be able to keep yourself under control, like, whether you're provided those
if
things
you
or
get
not.
a cold and your life just derails for 3 days, that's not ideal.
Yeah.
So like, I use the example of like with dogs, provide as much of the satisfaction and stuff as you can, but I also do intentionally build in moments where I have a day or two where I'm like, well, let's say that Saturday we had a really busy day and the kids couldn't come and play with him for fucking 4.5 hours. I want to make sure he's going to be emotionally in control enough of himself to have that not turn into he has massive separation anxiety and he's destroying my house, and then we can't settle that night because he didn't get the exercise, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? That is equally as important of a thing.
Yes.
And you have to practice both skills.
That's a really good point. And a lot of people, I think, fall into that trap with their dogs where it's like, oh, routine and schedule and consistency means I do have a fucking Google Calendar for my dog, and we have like 10 hours of shit, and it's the same, time stamps every day.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, I got COVID, so now my dog like ate my couch and had to get a hospital bill and this, that. Like, that's not what we're talking about.
Yes.
That's like taking it too far. Again, no offense against anyone that has OCD, and maybe this isn't even the right way to call it, you know what I mean? But like, if we're getting into the point of these things being compulsive, it's like, oh, I can't have a good day unless I meditate for an hour.
Yes.
Go to yoga, go to Tai Chi, go to my karate class, walk my dog for 4 hours, and then, eat dinner at exactly 6:45 p.m.
Yeah.
I mean, if you actually have OCD, okay, you do what you got to do, right? But I'm saying like for most people and most dogs, I think that is a way of, you're going to cause yourself a lot of pain.
Yeah.
At some point.
A little bit of coping.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. Yeah, I think that's good. I don't know. I mean, I feel like that was like a concise, like we packaged that episode into just like a nice, concise topic.
It's a good one.
Heck yeah.
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 Does any of the...
It's nice not having a delay, in your
the
Zoom call.
yes. Dude, Zoom works like absolute poop at my house. I don't know what it is.
Really? Is your internet really bad?
No. Google Meets works fine. WhatsApp works fine. It's just Zoom.
And I didn't tell you, but it almost happened, like, again, the first one where his didn't.
What, you almost deleted or something?
No, it like, I don't know, when it, like, was recording it, like, over Zoom, for some reason, it was just like.
The internet doesn't like my face.
Well, no, I imported it into my computer, and it was like, it like couldn't read the file, and I had to do a bunch of shit to make it like work, and then it was
way to go, man.
Did you have like a micro panic attack over it?
I did. I was like, not him again. Come on. But and then like when I put it in, I know what it was. It was like it has to be something with like, because I've never had it before. But if you have problems with it, but it's like where it's like the time code of the video. It was like it would like gradually like get slower for some like it would lose
weird
time. Like everything would be perfectly like synced up, and then like I would go like.
But isn't it just a screen recording? Isn't that all it is?
I know, but it must have been like the timing, like actually in his Zoom was like
a bit
farther.
I think that tracks because, like I said, like Zoom calls always something funky happens. It's okay sometimes, it's worse sometimes. But any other video calling thing, totally fine.
Like in real time, we were fine, but like. The lag between like us to him was getting like longer.
Weird, dude.
So like it wouldn't like sync up like perfectly, so I'd have to cut like a little bit.
Yeah.
And I made it work, and no one
noticed.
So
yeah, you did a great job, man. I didn't know. I listened back to it.
Did it go live?
That one went live a long time ago.
Yeah, that was like a month ago.
Yeah, I was like,
like Josh, are you a month behind on podcasts?
My brain ain't working.
Yeah. Well, we were always like a little bit ahead, but then this guy went on vacation, and now we're back to.
Dude, we're gonna have to get caught up because I'm gone for a collective 4 weeks over the next 2 months.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah,
so we're gonna have to roll.
Yeah, had to do some.
I think maybe this coming week we'll crank out that one I was talking about, that response one.
Yeah,
maybe we'll do that like Monday, Tuesday, or something.
We can figure something out.
I will look forward to it.
Girl.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody got anything else they want to add in?
Great to see you in the flesh.
Anything?
Man.
Oh, thank you. Okay, one quick final thought. Right. We don't have to go super long with this, but I think it's really, 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 really easy to project your own unconscious or subconscious material onto your dog. And we all do it to some extent, greater or lesser. So I think a lot of the times when you're having thoughts in your mind about, oh, this, that with my dog, you might just want to pull back a little bit and examine those thoughts that are running through your mind, because it very well might be about you and not about your dog.
It's possible.
Yep. And it might not be. You know what I'm saying? It's just something to think about. And again, going back to what I said earlier about behavioral expressions of this, same thing with... Oh, shit. My phone's doing a thing.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
It said, you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Shut your door, bro. So behavioral expressions, as I was saying, behavioral expressions of that, it can be the same thing, like in the mind, where you're having these thoughts about whatever, about your dog, about yourself. And, you can't do anything differently with that if you are completely unaware that it's happening. Like if you're caught up in the storm, you become the storm, whatever, however you want to put it, right? Yeah. So at the very least, maybe just examine your thoughts. Like if you're having thoughts about, oh, my dog is so stressed and this, that, Jesus Christ. It might be you that's so stressed. And we'll leave it there because my phone is telling me to shut the fuck up.
It's good seeing you, brother.
It's a good question to leave it on.
Yes.
Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, do it.